whether I have a boyfriend, whether I'm planning to get married, how did my parents allow me to quit my job? Do you really travel solo or do you have someone filming for you all the time? How do my parents allow me to travel with boys? Hello everybody! So today I thought I'm going to do something different, which is finally do a Q&A on my YouTube so that you can get to know me a little better. Since I've always just mostly created short form content on YouTube, travel vlogs a little bit here and there, but never really this in-depth chat that I can have with you. So I went onto Instagram and asked everybody to ask me some questions and took the most common questions, and I have them all here on my laptop and I am going to be answering them today. But since I'm a major procrastinator, I left this to the very last day of me being in an Airbnb in Delhi, and I literally need to check out in 2.5 hours. So I'm currently in Delhi. I don't live in Delhi anymore. I just rented an Airbnb here because most of my friends are here, and whenever I come to India, I feel comfortable staying here. So I've been staying here for the last 20 days before I then leave for 5 months for my next trip, or should I say multiple trips, because I'm going to multiple countries and I'm going to work out of some, I'm going to only travel in some. My next destination I will reveal towards the end because this was a question as well. But I thought, let me pack for my trip while I do this Q&A video, which will just be hitting two birds with one stone, which is a phrase I don't really like because why do you want to hit a bird with a stone? A better version of that is throwing two rings in a hat. That's what we're doing today. So let's pack together while I answer all your questions. Okay, firstly, sorry about the mess behind me, but I think everybody who's packing usually is quite messy. So I thought I'll give you a quick intro, quick 5 facts about me, since most of the people who subscribe to my channel on YouTube don't know me as well as everybody who follows me on Instagram. So my first fact would be that my name is Akanksha. I'm 25 years old. My dad is in the army, and I mention that as a fact because it's been a huge part of my life. We moved every 2 years since I was a child, which is why I have no home base, because my dad is still serving in the military, which means he also keeps moving. Fact number 2, I've been creating travel content on Instagram for the last 4 years now. I started with a full-time job at Bain, which was consulting, and then moved to LinkedIn and then quit my corporate job to create travel content full-time. But the caveat is that I'd already started creating travel content while I was at those jobs, kind of as a hobby on the side. Fact number 3 is that a lot of people think that I love the ocean and that I'm a total water person, but I'm actually a mountain girl. I love cold. I love the crisp mountain air, jo thand aati hai na, I just love it. And I can survive in really cold water. Like ice baths are my thing. Nobody can beat me at an ice bath challenge. Fact number 4 is that my biggest pet peeve is when people walk slowly in front of me, because I am a fast walker and I just don't understand why people are walking so slowly. Just don't get it. And fact number 5, which is probably quite strange, is that I have lived in over 40 different houses throughout my life. I'm not even counting the Airbnbs from the last like 2-3 years, just with my family, because of my dad's job. And I've also studied in over 8 schools. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And now we can finally get into the proper questions. So one question I've gotten asked the most, so I thought I'll take it up first, is everything to do with my parents. Like, how did my parents allow me to travel solo? How do my parents allow me to travel with boys? How did my parents allow me to quit my job? So all of these things I think can be answered in one go. So this is a question that I've been getting asked since I think I started my page. And the answer to it is always never straightforward. So when I started traveling, it was in the early years of my college, like when I was 18. And that is a time where my parents just didn't allow me to travel. Like that was just not a conversation that they were okay with even having, that I would like to travel solo or I would like to go somewhere. They were quite strict, not from the perspective of being conservative, but from the perspective of safety. Coming from Delhi, studying in Delhi, they were just always very scared for what could happen to me. But I knew that I wanted to live my life. I always wanted to travel. That was like a dream I had since I was a child. So I lied. That is a very simple answer to the question at the start. I started lying and I would go for trips and I would not tell my parents. And that is a very honest thing that happened. But then eventually I started to realize that I don't want to live a life like this, wherein I am not able to share a huge part of my life with my parents. Like around second, third year of college, I started to realize that I'm having all these experiences, like I used to go to Himachal, but I couldn't share those experiences with them because I was not telling them that I'm going there. And I also feel that that's a bit unsafe, because if something happens, my parents just won't know that I've gone. So I felt that there was something not right about that, and I decided to tell them. And when I had that first conversation with them that, hey, I love traveling, I wanted to travel, you guys said no, that I can't do it, I decided that maybe I need to ruin my relationship with my parents temporarily so that it doesn't get ruined forever in the long run. Because if I would never tell them, I think we would drift apart so much and I would never share a part of my life that we would not know each other after a point. So I thought, okay, let me break this to them right now. And they'll be mad, they'll be angry, maybe they'll be disappointed, because I also wanted to spend all the money that I used to get on travel, or that became kind of my thing. And I thought, okay, fine, let them be angry at me for now, and at some point they will understand, they will see how happy I am. I also told them that, see, I will do my best to be honest with you. I'll share my live location with you, I'll share my booking details with you so that you are in the loop. And I would also involve them in the decision-making process many times, like ask them that, okay, I'm going here, what do you think, and stuff like that. And my mom in the beginning was very, very supportive. My dad wasn't so supportive, but slowly I feel like they have also come around to it. And I was also very empathetic to the fact that I understood that, our parents come from a generation wherein this was not common. Like, no young daughter of the family would go and travel by herself or travel with boys. Like, it was looked down upon in some ways, right? So I realized that I also need to kind of make them learn that, okay, things have changed, so move at a slower pace and make them more comfortable. And yeah, now I can say that I'm very proud. I'm very proud of myself, that I fought for what I wanted to do and I did it in an honest way. I'm very proud of my parents, that they also grew with me and didn't stay restricted to their bubble and how they thought about it. But yeah, I think that was a very long answer to the question, but I think the short answer would be that I don't think if your parents are saying no to you for traveling, because you're not doing anything wrong by traveling, you're just going and exploring a new place. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You need to explain that to them. If they don't understand, I would still say you need to do it anyway. Bring them on that journey with you. Do it with love, not with anger. Also, in case you guys are wondering why I have so much stuff that I'm packing, it's because when I travel for a longer time, for 5 months, and all of this is actually the only things I own. Like, this is my entire life in a suitcase, because I don't have a home, I don't have a base. I move from one place to another and live out of Airbnbs or homestays, and I pack everything in packing cubes. I got a head start yesterday and put everything in my packing cubes. Basically, how I do it is that I put my casual wear in one packing cube, I'll put my undergarments in one packing cube, the sportswear in one packing cube, so everything is super organized. That's what you need when you travel on the go for 5 months straight. But getting to the next question, a lot of people wanted to know where they can go for their first solo trip in India and abroad. So my top recommendation for India, if you live in a city like Delhi, basically in the north of India, would be Himachal Pradesh, 100%. So my first solo trip was actually in Udaipur in Rajasthan, but I didn't feel that it was insanely safe there. And I feel like Himachal Pradesh as your first solo trip would be absolutely perfect, because people there are amazing. It's very safe, cheap, lots of hostels, very easy to commute from big cities in India, and you've just got so much to explore. Like Himachal, I say it as like one state, but you have so much. You have Manali, Nagar, Spiti, Jibhi, so many places, so many hikes that you can do, and lots of group trips that also go to Himachal. So I think Himachal in North India, and for the south of India, I would say Varkala or Mulki. I have been to both of these places and they've got great infrastructure for solo travelers, easy ways to commute, and great food as well. Now, when it comes to going abroad, I would say Southeast Asia is probably the easiest starting point for any solo traveler. And within Southeast Asia, the top recommendation would be Thailand, because you've just got so many hostels there. Every place has like mini vans. You can go from one place to another. It's super cheap. You'll find so many people from all over the world who come to Thailand as like their first backpacking destination. So you won't feel like you're the only one traveling solo for the first time. And the second place would be Indonesia. Again, super simple to travel through. You will find so many amazing people and the nature is beautiful. Indonesia is one of those countries that when people ask me, what's your favorite country in the world? I always say Indonesia because of the people, the nature, and the food. So those would be my top recommendations. Okay, the next top question is that how do I afford to travel so much? I think it's a very fair question because as a content creator on Instagram, a lot of people feel that she's traveling all the time. How is this possible? But I have to point out that earlier when I started my journey, I was in college. I didn't have any social media accounts and I used to do internships here and there. So for example, I was a campus ambassador for Red Bull, for Brew House, and I would earn like 5,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees per month, and in good months 15k. And I would use that money to go for shorter trips around India. So I would go to Himachal, Udaipur, like I mentioned earlier. And these trips were very doable. In fact, I would only need 5-6k max to go to these destinations. So I feel like if you prioritize how you're spending your money, you will actually be able to afford to travel. Obviously, this comes from a privileged place because I didn't have a lot of responsibilities except myself. So I could spend that money on myself. But what I mean by prioritizing is that, for example, in college, I never went out to eat food with my friends very often. I didn't go out partying. I didn't spend money on drinking. I literally used to save all my money and spend it only on travel. And then when I got my full-time job, I was earning around 55,000 a month after tax. And then I would literally save all of that money as well. Like some would go in rent and the rest I would use to travel. So while I was working full-time, I started creating content on the side and actually started earning a little bit of money from it. In fact, I remember my first brand collab paid me 7,500 rupees. And so I realized, okay, I can make the same amount that I was making at my job from travel content creation. And I took that risk. I also had savings and started creating content full-time. And how I started earning money from content was that brands would pay me to essentially market their products, create like an ad for them on my page. The other way is like launching courses. So for example, I did a creator bootcamp. I have my own travel hacking course. That also makes me some additional money. And pooling all of that together, now I'm able to earn a 6 to sometimes in some months a 7-figure salary, depending on how many brand collaborations I do a month, how much my course sells and all of that. And of course, I also need to point out that to create travel content, you also need to spend a lot on travel. So if I make a 6-figure salary, I also end up spending 6 figures on my travels because now I go to countries like Denmark and Italy, whereas earlier I just started with places smaller, close to home, like Himachal, Sri Lanka. And I think that's totally okay. I feel like, obviously I'm a part of the problem as well, wherein on social media you feel like you need to go to these far off destinations. But in my opinion, traveling can be done anywhere, and that's the beauty of it. You can learn so much from a place even close to your home. So don't compare. It's my job to show people around the world, which is why I do it so often. And many times a lot of my places also are sponsored. So I reach out to them, they allow me to, let's say, stay at a place or experience something like a hot air balloon ride for free. And I then create content for them on my page. So nothing is ever free. I still work for them in some way and they give it to me at no cost. So that reduces my expenses a bit. Okay, so I thought we will switch the background a bit and pack my backpack, which goes as my carry-on, and answer the next question. A lot of people say that they love how I produce my content and the editing, and they're asking me, how do I do that? And the answer is simple. So as a digital nomad, I am on the go 24/7 and I need a powerhouse of a tool to keep me productive. And there is nothing better than my Intel Core Ultra powered AI PC, the Acer Swift Go 14. The coolest part about this laptop is that it's built for the way I work, with AI capabilities that make my life so much easier. Like Copilot, the AI assistant, helps me brainstorm ideas, come up with concepts. It's so cool. And then for editing, I use Adobe Premiere Pro or Firefly, and they both have amazing AI features that take my workflow to the next level. Let me tell you how. For example, Firefly can create custom effects and enhance visuals with just a simple click. And Adobe AI's auto trimming saves me hours by cutting down footage precisely where I need it. A lot of people don't realize that for AI to work smoothly, it's really about the hardware and the software coming together. It's finally the combination of 100 plus apps like Copilot, Firefly, Zoom, Adobe Premiere Pro with the Intel Core Ultra processor that gives me the seamless experience I need to keep up with everything. All of it so much easier, and at the end of the day, content creation becomes so much more fun and faster. Okay, wow. Do you really travel solo, or do you have someone filming for you all the time? The number of times I have been accused of lying of traveling solo, I think if I would get $1 for that, I would be so rich. But yes, I do really travel solo. I don't travel solo all the time. I think some people have this weird assumption that if someone says they like to travel solo, then they just permanently travel alone all the time. That's not how it works. I travel solo sometimes, and traveling solo doesn't mean you go, check into a hotel, sit in that room alone the whole day, don't meet anybody else and don't talk to anyone else. That's not how solo travel works. While I solo travel, I meet so many people, and sometimes I also meet people who can hold a camera and click the record button, and that's how I get my videos half the time. I just make friends and I ask them that, hey, can you help me shoot a video, and I use my phone to shoot it and it's super convenient, or I use my tripod. Very handy, very light. I can pack it in my suitcase, take it everywhere with me, and I just set it up and shoot using this. And that is how I film myself when I travel solo. Sorry that there's no spicy answer to this question, but I also don't travel solo all the time. In the last year, I have only traveled solo 3 times. This year, I traveled a lot with my boyfriend, my friends, but the years before that, before I didn't have anybody who would be able to move with me constantly, I just went by myself, and I'm very happy about that, that I can just go do things on my own. And I love traveling solo, and I feel everybody needs to travel solo at least once in their life. There are also so many questions on stuff related to traveling, how to save money on flights, hotels, etc. I have to say that I have a travel hacking course that is perfect for you. I know this is a subtle plug-in, but honestly, I can't answer all these questions here. It is a course which has over 40 hacks, so many modules that cover everything from how can you save money on your flights, your hotels, how to travel solo, how to plan your trips, which destinations to go to, visas, every single thing you can imagine when it comes to planning a trip and how to become a pro at doing that. You can find that in my course. So please check it out. If you don't decide to buy it, that's totally okay, but make sure to go click the link in my description at least and see the website to find out everything that you will get in that course, and I'm pretty sure you will be convinced. I also have a whole packing module in there, by the way, so you can really see the BTS of how I get all of this to fit into one suitcase. Okay, wow, we're actually done with one side of my suitcase. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. And now we're going to get to the other side, which is food. Everything that I carry, from my protein powder to my peanut butter, my protein bars. Oh my God, I have an entire packet of those. But now we can get to the next question, which is, why have you stopped creating travel content, and are you going to stop traveling? No, I'm not going to stop traveling, considering you're seeing that I'm packing my bag right now. But yes, I am going to try and travel even slower next year. I stopped creating a lot of travel content because I feel like even I'm growing as a person. It's been 4 years since I've only been talking about travel, the best places to go to, the hacks, the stories about travel. And I think I love travel. It will always be a part of my life. But I don't want that to be the only part of my personality that I showcase online. And I wanted to talk about other things, about things that I do and think about outside of travel. Secondly, I also have to admit that traveling can become pretty exhausting after a point, especially if you're doing it at the pace that I was going, which was quite fast. And I also, like I said, didn't have a base. So a lot of people live in one city, then go for a trip and then come back to their same home. What I was doing is shifting houses every 1 month, 2 months, 2 weeks, sleeping in over 100 beds in 1 year. And I think that got tiring this year. But I think now I also feel like I want to have a little bit of a base, maybe 2 places. So the answer is no, I'm not going to stop traveling, considering you're seeing me packing my bag right now for like a 5-month-long journey. But yes, I am going to start traveling much slower from next year. it's okay if I have changed as a person for the last 4 years, because just like everybody, I have also grown, and I no longer want to just talk about one aspect of my life, which is travel. There's so many more things that I'm interested in, like books, self-development, working out, just so many things, and I want to share that with you as well. Okay, seems like I was lying. The most asked questions weren't about traveling, but they were about whether I have a boyfriend, whether I'm planning to get married, as always. But okay, no. Firstly, I am not planning on getting married. I'm only 25 years old. I have no plans of getting married right now. Yes, I do have a boyfriend, and we met while traveling. It's a very cute story, and that's why I'm grateful for traveling, because I met someone who I absolutely love and adore. We met in Sri Lanka. But I don't want to share anything more about him, because I strongly believe that when it comes to certain things in my life, like my relationships, some of my best friendships, these are things that I'm very sensitive about, that I see on a day-to-day life, right? And I don't want to share that with the world, because then I'm putting it out there for everyone to have an opinion on it, good and bad. And so I just don't want other people's opinions to affect how I am looking at my relationship, whether I feel happy about something they're doing or sad about something they're doing. And I hope you respect that. But at least this is the first time that I'm telling anybody that yes, I do have a boyfriend and he is amazing. And now for the final answer, which is where am I going next? Honestly, only revealing this on YouTube. I never reveal my travel plans in advance, but here you go. So first, I'm going to Cape Town, South Africa, which I leave for in the next 1 week. From Cape Town, I'm going to be going to Namibia for a road trip, which I'm very, very excited about. And then I am so excited, but I'm going to a new part of the world, a continent I've never been to. I'm going to Argentina and Chile, and then a couple of other countries which are not 100% finalized yet, so it doesn't make sense to reveal them. But I'm so excited because I'm going to be hiking in the Patagonian mountains, hopefully, if everything goes right. And that would be a dream come true. Something that's been on the top of my bucket list forever, but it wasn't very affordable for a very long time. And now I can finally go see it. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So many of you watch my videos and then don't subscribe. So go hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be sharing so much more on how we can become more productive, better, travel better, everything. And I want you to tell me what videos should I create next. So tell me in the comments, ask me any questions that you feel I missed out on in this Q&A. Either I'll make a part 2 or maybe I'll just reply to them in the comments. I read all of the comments, every single one of them. So please go do that. And finally, I'm sending you a lot of love and sunshine. Bye.